Welcome back to Morning Joy, where truth matters. I'm your host, Keith Downey, and today we're joined by Michèle Bowe, the Sovereign Order of Malta's ambassador to Palestine. She represents the Order's political and humanitarian interests in the region. She's also president of the Holy Family Hospital of Bethlehem Foundation and treasurer of the St. John XXIII Foundation, helping maintain a fund for the pastoral support of Catholics in the armed forces. I could go on and on. But we only have a few moments. Good morning and welcome to the show, Ambassador.
Good morning. Nice to be here with you all.
Thank you so much for joining us. Now, before we dive into the conversation here, as the ambassador of the Order of Malta to Palestine, could you maybe share with our listeners what your role entails and what led you to focus on this particular region?
My role basically is dealing with the state-to-state relationship between the government of the Order of Malta and the government of the State of Palestine. So a few years ago, we signed a agreement where we would work together to do development projects in third countries. And we run a number of humanitarian programs within Palestine itself. And I interact with the government to make sure that we are working to the best of our ability to take care of the sick and the poor within the state of Palestine.
Wow. Yeah, you recently returned from the Holy Land. What struck you during the most during your visit there?
Well, I just came back on Saturday, and I'll have to say what struck me was something that was a little bifurcated. It was growing poverty, a sense of fear of not knowing what the future will bring. And we all know what happens when faithful people fear about the future as they pray. And what I noticed was that the churches were just filled to the gills. I was in Mass in Bethlehem a number of times, and even on a Thursday afternoon, the Mass was completely full. And I just thought that was such a blessing to know that when things are uncertain, when the future is unclear, they head to their pews and get on their knees.
Wow. That is beautiful in a way, because we here in the United States, we really take all of that for granted. And so that's why I think we see a lot of empty pews. But the situation in Palestine has been deteriorating economically and politically. Could you maybe elaborate on the challenges faced by the local population, especially the Christians there, regarding employment and livelihood?
Well, the Christian population in Palestine is mainly focused in the governorate of Bethlehem. And the Christians, we call them Christians because they're a mix of Roman Catholics, Orthodox Christians, and Syriac or Aramaic Christians. And they can be Latin or Orthodox. And their families have been there since the very early church. And I would have to say the biggest challenges they face right now are economic. Bethlehem is, since the 4th century, has been very reliant on pilgrimages. And today it's 90% reliant, the economy of Bethlehem, on pilgrimages. And when pilgrimages stopped last fall, the hotels closed, the restaurants closed, the souvenir shops closed, and 90% of the workforce was left without salaries. And that's really a challenge because they had a similar situation during COVID. They said it would take a generation to recover, and they only had 18 months between the opening after COVID and the beginning of this war. The other impediment to salaries is about 100,000 people from the south of Palestine, the Bethlehem and Hebron governorates, had work permits to work in Jerusalem. And because of the war, those work permits have been withdrawn. And so they no longer have that option to be able to go into Jerusalem. So people are in really a rough position economically. And Palestine rents the Israeli currency. And so many countries, if they're in a situation where they need to bring up the social benefits to people who are struggling, they can print more currency. Well, Palestine can't print currency, and it just doesn't really have a good social safety net. The primary social safety net is family members making their tables longer. So at our primary work, which is in Bethlehem, as an infant and maternity hospital that delivers about 4,500 babies a year, our 220 direct or indirect employees are making their tables longer. They're taking care of 14 or 15 additional family members just to help get everybody through these terrible times.
Wow, that is incredible. Incredible work that you're doing there too. Now you mentioned all of these Christians, because of the lack of pilgrimages and tourism has been a detriment. What are they doing to help keep food on the table?
Well, that's a really good question, because I met a guy as I was on my way to Mass whose parents own a little kind of convenience store, and it's on a route where pilgrims pass and they stop and get drinks and snacks. And of course, that's not happening. And this guy is just super creative. And he said, "Look at me, I'm dusty." And he was giving his parents a break from the store, but he has been doing day labor on construction sites. And just, anything they can do to make ends meet. The Order of Malta began a program during COVID, kind of slowly. Now it's in full force, where we've partnered with the local Roman Catholic parish. And we have a social worker who's a volunteer nun, lovely woman. And we have 350 families enrolled in a program where we are distributing grocery cards each month, pharmaceutical cards, and electricity cards. But the whole community pulls together. The 3 grocery stores that we're using have given us a 20% discount. So when people donate to this program, the money goes 20% further. And the 3 pharmacies have also given us a 20% discount. So the community looks after each other, which is just beautiful. I mean, it's really very much still like the first Christian community, because that's their roots. That's who they are.
Wow. You mentioned earlier that there's different types of Christians. What does it felt like as far as the unity goes? Because obviously, like, there's differences in beliefs, but because they're all kind of in that situation together, have you seen more unity with these Christians?
There's been really good unity for the past 30, 40 years. 40 years and before, if a woman married a man from a different sect, they would play the funeral bells at the church. But today, because there aren't so many Christians, the Christians marry together very freely, and the Christian community is extremely united. And it is just a blessing every time a couple marries and has children, to continue the growth and the stability of the Christian community in the place where Jesus was born. Our hospital is just 1,500 footsteps from where Jesus was born.
Wow.
And we're an ecumenical hospital. Our staff is Muslim and Christian. We care for anyone without regard for need or creed. And like I said, we deliver around 4,500 babies a year. And we're really a great stabilizing force because of the economic impact that we provide, because we source everything we can locally. But we do something unique, which is we pay our employees on time and in full. And in a place like Bethlehem, when cash gets scarce, the cash shortage is sort of balanced on the backs of the employees, because there's just not another way to do it. And so we really pride ourselves at the Order of Malta of being an employer of choice, a good corporate citizen, and a good neighbor. And I'm proud to say, a year into the war, we continue to uphold our values as the Order of Malta, serving all in need and without regard to creed, and just being a good corporate citizen.
That's great. Now, obviously, it sounds like the community there is really strong. But for those that are listening, maybe in Texas, Florida, quite far away from Palestine, how can listeners support and pray for the Christian community in Palestine?
Prayer is always the most important. And I think at this point, maybe some fasting would be in order to pray for not just peace, but reconciliation, and most of all for hope. Pope Benedict said, those who have hope live differently. And we really need to inculcate hope into the hearts and minds of everyone. So prayer is very important. On Tuesday evenings, we have an online rosary. And if you go to our website, birthplaceofhope.org, birthplaceofhope.org, we have the instructions for the Tuesday rosary, but you can also make a donation. And I know Christmas is coming up, and what a beautiful gift to give someone that you love, the birth of a child in Bethlehem. And when you make a donation online, you can request a little certificate that you can present to someone that you want to give a gift for. Or you can give a gift of care for our mobile clinic, which goes around into the desert and isolated villages, a pediatric gift. The gift of a service for a woman past the childbearing ages. We have a menopause clinic, and we mustn't forget our women who are the grandmothers and the older mothers and are so important to keeping the society together.
Incredible work. I mean, so birthplaceofhope.org is the website that listeners can go to, birthplaceofhope.org. Wow. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, Ambassador Bowe. We really appreciate you, all the work that you're doing.
Thank you so much. A pleasure to be with you.
If you'd like to see more content like what you just saw, make sure to like, follow, subscribe, tag along, whatever the kids are saying today. I don't know. But hey, also make sure to play our Catholic trivia game where you can win a prize just by playing. Go to grnonline.com/joy.